Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatera Vanachari Jamunatera Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaivam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astotal Strat Systematic Divine Grace is confined the Charya Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai Jaivam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astotal Strat Systematic Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavini Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Si Kahau Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Gadadhara Si Vasadi Si Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Syama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Sri Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai Sri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai New Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Maya Yamuna Maya Ki Jai Srimati Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Our glory is to the sum of devotees. Our glory is to the sum of devotees. Our glory is to the sum of devotees. Our glory is all glories to Sisi Gaura and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narancheva Naruttama Devin Saraswati Vyansa Tato Jaya Madiret Nasta Payesa Bhadrisu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavaitina Istiki. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 16, Text 36. We're celebrating, continuation of celebration of the appearance of Lord Nrsimadeva. And so we do some brief topic-focused discussion, then we say also some things about the Lord's appearance, the relevance of Nrsimada's appearance in our devotional life, our social life, economic life, political life, whatever. So, text 36. Tayo asurayo adya tejasa yamayo hivaha akshiptam tija etari bhagavam stat viditsat Bhagavan Viditsati Bhagavan Stat Viditsati Tayo Asurayo Adya Tejasa Yamayo Hivaha Akshiptam Tija Etahi Bhagavan Stat Viditsati Tayo Asurayo Adya Tejasa Yamayo Hivaha Akshiptam Tija Itahi Bhagavan Stat Viditsati. Can someone try? Ladies, ladies, thank you. Our word-for-word translation and purport by His Divine Grace is confirmed Acharya Srila Bhakti Vasudeva Bhakti Swami Prabhupada Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you. Taya of them Asuraya of the two Asuras Adya today Tejasa by the prowess Yamaya of the twins he certainly Vaha of all you demigods Akshiptam agitated Tijaha power Etahi does certainly Bhagavan the Supreme Personality of Godhead that Viditsati desires to do. Translation: it is the prowess of these twin asuras, demons, that has disturbed you, for it has minimized your power. There is no remedy within my power. However, for it is the Lord Himself who desires to do all this. Please kindly repeat. It is the prowess of these twin asuras, demons, that has disturbed you, for it has minimized your power. There is no remedy within my power. However, for it is the Lord Himself who desires to do all this. Although Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha, formerly Jaya and Vijaya, became asuras, the demigods of this material world could not control them. And therefore Lord Brahma said that neither he nor all the demigods could counteract the disturbance they created. They came within the material world by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and He alone could counteract such disturbances. In other words, although Jaya and Vijaya assumed the bodies of asuras, they remain more powerful than anyone, thus proving that the Supreme Personality of Godhead desires to fight because the fighting spirit is also within Him. He is the original in everything, but when He desires to fight, He must fight with a devotee. Therefore, by His desire only were Jaya and Vijaya cursed by the Kumaras. The Lord ordered the good keepers to go down to the material world to become His enemies, so that He could fight with them, and His fighting desires will be satisfied by the service of His personal devotees. Brahma showed the demigods that the situation created by the darkness for which they were disturbed was the desire of the Supreme Lord. He wanted to show that even though these two attendants were coming in the forms of demons, they were very powerful, greater than the demigods, who could not control them. No one can surpass the acts of the Supreme Lord. The demigods were also advised not to try to counteract this incident because it was ordered by the Lord. Similarly, anyone who is ordered by the Lord to perform some action in this material world, especially preaching His glories, cannot be counteracted by anyone. The will of the Lord is executed under all circumstances. Yena tasmai si guruve namaha sacetanya manovistam stapitam yena bhutale swayam bhupam kadamayam dadati swapadantikam. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gurudaya Paspavanto Chita Chandatano Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauri This the song of Pasatya Devata. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Visa Gaura Bhakti Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Vacha Kalpataribhyacha Kripasanabhyacha Patitanam Vaishnava. So welcome to this segment of the morning activities of today. So here, Prabhupada is mentioning in purport how Lord Brahma had advised the demigods to do nothing about the disturbance that we are being created by Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakasipu. So that really sets some type of feeling. Imagine when you have a disturbance in a city or in a community and you make a report to the police headquarters and they say, there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. That could be very frustrating on the part of the demigods. But they understand because the demigods are also devotees. They are inclined towards respect, honor, and worship of the Lord. And Lord Brahma is their authority. So when whatever Lord Brahma says, they accept. Hook, line, and sinker, they say. And so, the other underlying principle here is that, like we mentioned the previous day, that Jaya and Vijay, they were gatekeepers in the Vaikuntha lokas, and they restricted the Kumaras from access to the Lord. And because of that, the Kumaras are very people who are they look like small, they look like preteens, but they are old sages. So people want to be young all the time. The Kumaras, they have that power of giving themselves like preteens, although they are very old sages. So they were upset with the gatekeeper Jaya and Vijay, so they cursed it. Of course, Lord Vishnu came to intervene and ameliorated the situation, but still he allowed the curse of the Kumaras to hold. It's just that he made some amendments here and there. But the original thing, this is the mercy of the Lord, that he does not, even the curse of the Kumaras, he did not completely interfere with it, but because at the background, he is the engineer of everything. He's the engineer of everything. But then there are a lot of things that we could learn from this. Because sometimes even we are trying to serve the Lord, we are practicing, we're cultivating bhakti, serving the Lord, giving our life, many decades of years to the system, serving the Lord. And we seem to experience some types of things that we can't really explicate, and then we tend to wonder, I'm surrendered to Krishna. Why is this happening to me? Yeah, I'm surrendered to Krishna. Why is this happening to me? It's difficult to say, to evaluate and assess and, give some explicit reason about what happens to anybody. Other than, we say, and sometimes it could be very annoying when you tell somebody, it's your karma. And, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. What someone will say to you and you will not like, don't say it to somebody. Sometimes we may have knowledge about what has transpired or what is transpiring or what is going on, but we have to learn to say the things that could placate the situation, that could help that person, that could leverage that person, not things that, could just dampen their consciousness even more, make them feel that the Lord is perhaps not merciful to them. So here, we see vividly that Vishnu is the underlying principle here. The cursing of Jai and Vijay and all this, the underlying idea is that he wanted to wrestle, he wanted to exercise, wanted to make some sporting, and he wanted to sport with his devotee. And then, the Kumaras have to become, the brunt, they have to bear the brunt of the cause of the the Jaya Vijay have to bear the brunt of the cause of the Kumaras. But Vishnu actually is the one who engineered it. He wanted to sport, and he wanted to sport with his devotee. He wanted to fight with. Like when Krishna and Balaram were on the planet, they would go into the forest and with their friends, they would sometimes engage in wrestling. That spirit is always there. Where do we think we get the spirit of fighting, Baya, fighting. Where we get the spirit? Krishna is from Krishna because the spirit soul is an emanation of Krishna, emanation from Krishna. And so it's interesting, it's intriguing about this very lila of the Lord. Because if people don't understand the underlying ideology behind it, the people could wonder, why could the Hiranyakasipu terrorize the whole world and no one could conquer him? He took over the demigods' government, the seats of power. He overthrown them and took over power, dethroned them, invaded them. We're talking about invasion. Some people complain, Russia, why did they invade Ukraine? The real original invader was Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha. They laid the groundwork for invasions. They invaded even the demigods, chased them away from their position, took over power, take all their cities. The point is that the material world, Bhaktisiddhanta said, is not a place for gentlemen. It's not a place where you have sustainable peace. You can't have sustainable peace in this material world. Because one of the defaults of the material world is fighting. And so we see how Jaya and Vijay, when they took the forms of... See, that's another important factor. Jaya and Vijay, when they took betters, Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha, who was their father? Huh? Remember? Who is the father of Jaya and Vijay? And who is their mother? Yes? I've been a devotee for many years. Tell me. Tell us. Look, I'm a senior. I've been there for so many years. You just came. I'm a senior. Senior for Sastra, okay? Let's be senior for Sastra. So, okay. Who is or who was the father and mother of Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha? And are you sure? You're not sure? Huh? Yeah, Kashyapa. And who? What is the mother's name? Are you sure it's a Aditi? No. Diti. There is Aditi and Diti. Aditi is the mother of the demigods. Yeah. So, you know that, you remember that story? It shows how, and you see, the Bhagavatam gives us so much information on how we should cultivate our social lives. I'm checking the time, so don't worry. It gives us so much information on how we should cultivate our social life. The Leelas, they are amazing, but there is always something to go home with. There is always something to implement. See, if you read the Bhagavatam about the appearance of Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha, Diti had approached Kashyapa to appease her sex desire. And Kashyapa said, this is not a good time. And she brought all types of philosophies just to make sure her advances are fulfilled. So it was too much on Kashyapa. Kashyapa yelled. If you love your wife, you don't want to make her angry, right? Is that right? Yeah, if you love your wife, you don't want to make her angry. So if she advances something, you ask for something, a real gentleman will always give what a wife wants. Otherwise, you cannot be peaceful. Is that correct? Huh? It's true, whether you agree or not, it's true. So don't point accusing fingers to Kashyapa. Oh, he's very weak. What type of sages? What type of yogis? What type of sages this? No, people want to be peaceful too, so they pacify their wives. They satiate their wives' needs. They fulfill their wives' desires. So Diti pressurized Kashyapa for sex. Kashyapa couldn't take it anymore. It was going to bring a trouble, bring a friction. So he said, okay. But it's not a good period, baby. And it's like, I don't care. I don't give a damn about the period. Just give it to me. Yeah. That was exactly what happened. And then Kashyapa gave in. So, because it was a bad time, improper time. There's a time to if you want to procreate, there's a specific time to do that. It's mentioned in the Gabadam Sanskara book. Everybody should read the Gabadam Sanskara book, because majority of the people are potential householders. People should read the Gabadam Sanskara book so that you know exactly what to do to invoke a powerful child into your family. Because if the sex life is just like between what Diti was pressing on Kashyapa, and the Kashyapa couldn't contain the pressure anymore and then gave in, you may give bad, you may have the affair at an improper time and have a soul that you never would wish invoked into your family. And then you blame Krishna. Krishna, what is this? Why you gave me this type of child? I've been serving you for all these decades. We can't blame Krishna. There are rules set down for these processes. There are strategies. These are called models. In management science, we call them models. These are models for procreation. And if we don't follow the models, Who is to blame? We blame Krishna? No, we cannot blame Krishna. So the Bhagavatam is full of, strategies for social reformation, through social transformation. In most cases, we only relish the pastimes and then the implications. We don't give so much attention to it. So anyway, that was it. And that was how Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha took bed. Improper time for sex. Okay. So, let's go to speak some things on Lord Nrsimadeva. So, the Lord mentions in the Gita that Paritranaya sadhu vinasaya duskritam. He said he appears to protect his devotees and destroy the demons. Yes, Krishna, this is what he said in the Bhagavad Gita. And all along he's been fulfilling this very statement. Each time he comes, or he says that when there is some type of discrepancies in religious implementation, religious execution, and people mess up the whole system, he appears to rectify things. So even when Lord Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we see that in India, even at that time, even in Navadvip, it was very terrible in Navadvip before Lord Chaitanya advented. As a twist in religious principle, religious practice. Even now, the devotees who preach in Navadvip, they tell me how the males, it's very difficult to get them to take to Krishna consciousness. The women, very easily. So, husband may go and drop the wife at his center where they are having satsang. But the husband will never come in. He just drops the wife and then he goes away. And then at a particular time he comes to pick the wife. That's Navadvip. But even now, this thing is going on. But before Lord Chaitanya advented, it was so horrible. And that is why Advaita Acharya would pray and do some puja for the Lord to come. But in this very period, Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha, they were like, they terrorized the whole universe. And they were very powerful, more powerful than the ordinary demons, because they came from the spiritual world. They are devotees of Lord Krishna. They are performing a particular type of lila. And then when Hiranyakasipu had his son, we are mentioning I think the first day, the exact day of appearance about Prahlad. You see, we can't really talk about Lord Nrsimha's appearance. Lord Nrsimha's appearance and Prahlad, they are mutually inclusive. We can't talk one and leave the other. Because it is the treatment that was being met out to Prahlad that invoked the appearance of Lord Nrsimadeva. To fulfill Krishna's statement, Paritranaya sadhu, protect the devotee. So Prahlad was very dedicated, very dedicated devotee. In fact, he learned about Krishna consciousness right from when he was in the womb. Because when his mother was pregnant, who is Prahlad's mother? The mothers should know this. Yes, who is Prahlad's mother? Mataji. So, ladies. Are you a mother? Are you a mother? We say mothers should know this. The ladies should know this. The ladies, talking about the lady should tell us, because, this is having to do with a lady. Yes, who is Prahlad's mother? Kayadu. You sure? It's correct. Thank you. So when Kayadu was pregnant of Prahlad, I was telling the story of how a demon like Hiranyakashipu gave birth to a saintly child like Prahlad. Who was there when I was telling that story? I was there when I was telling the story about how a demon like Hiranyakashipu gave birth to a saintly person, Prahlad. It's incompatible because demon should give birth to a demon child. But here, a demon like Hiranyakashipu, he gave birth to Prahlad. How is that? Yes, you can tell us why. How could that be? Because it's incompatible. Yeah, I know you say it's Krishna's special mercy. No, I know that's a Krishna's special mercy, but what is the detail? Okay, the men tell us. Yes, Bolo. Bhagavatam Sanskara? What you say? Okay, that's a general principle. Yes, but there was not this. It was not mentioned about Bhagavatam Samskara. There was another specific details. Of course, that detail Vijayasada did not mention it in the Bhagavatam, but he mentioned it in the Nrsimha Purana. Yes, tell us. Yes, thank you. That is very close, but at that time, Prahlad, the saintly Prahlad, was already in the womb. In fact, Narada Muni told the demigod that, look, this woman is carrying a devotee of Lord Vishnu. So my question is, how could Hiranyakashipu give birth to a devotee of Lord Vishnu? Hiranyakashipu is a demon. All of his body could have been saturated with demoniac mentality. So how could he have given birth to? Yes, Bolo. Huh? It's a good woman. That's very good. That's a good point. Yeah, but what raises specific? I mentioned this the other day when I gave the class. Okay. Okay, tell us. Okay. Sure. Thank you very much. Yeah, that is the background story. But we'll talk about that's the background story. In research, we have this idea of, when you're making a report, in beginning is introduction, and then background, before you go to problem statement, and all this other stuff. So that's background. You're on it. Very good. Thank you. Yes, anyone can help us specifically? Who was there when I gave the class? Everybody's claiming not to be there? You were there. Okay, maybe you forget. Anyway, sometimes something we have not heard before, we hear it, it's so easy to forget. Now, in the writings of Srila Vyasadeva, he avoids, as much as possible, he avoids repeating the pastimes in this one and this one and this one. Sometimes we find the same stories, the same pastimes in one Purana, and then we also find it in the Bhagavad Purana. Of course, the Bhagavad Purana is a commentary of the Vedanta Sutra. And so in the Nrsimha Purana, it is mentioned how Hiranyakashipu had planned to go to perform austerities, to beg for a boon from Lord Brahma, a boon of immortality. And Lord Brahma was in anxiety. Lord Brahma already knew what the Nrsimadeva wants to do. So he was in anxiety. And Lord Brahma's son, the best of the sons of Lord Brahma, Narada Muni. Why is Narada Muni the best of sons of Lord Brahma? Because Narada Muni goes about the whole 3 worlds preaching the gospel of Krishna consciousness. So Lord Brahma himself said in his own statements, in his explication of the Nrsimadeva, he said that Narada is his best of sons. Srunu Narada Bhakshami, Putra sister. He told Narada, because Narada asked him, how will one get protection in terms of danger? He asked his father. Sometimes we have our children come to ask us this question and that question. I remember somebody messaged me and said, Maharaj, this boy is just 4 years old and he asked me this question and that question, and some of the questions I don't have answers. So Narada was also very inquisitive. So he asked his son, he asked his father, if someone is in danger, what is to be done? What prayers to be said? And what is the prayer that Indra used to be able to conquer his enemies? So Lord Brahma. So we have 2 Nrsimadeva prayers. One is spoken by Prahlad, and the other is spoken by Lord Brahma. The one spoken by Lord Brahma is very, very sophisticated and longer. The one that was spoken by Prahlad is a little bit. Prahlad has only 1 head, or say Paka devotee, he has only 1 head. Lord Brahma has 4 heads. So his own stuff is a little bit sophisticated and longer. So in that statement, in the opening verse, he told Narada, so Narada Bhakshami, my dear Narada, listen to me. Putra sisters Tapodan, you are the best of my sons, because you are an embodiment of the wealth of austerities. And what is that austerity? Narada is a pure devotee of Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu, and he goes about distributing the message of Krishna consciousness. That made him to be very endeared to his own father, Lord Brahma. He wanted to be dear to Lord Krishna. Krishna also gave the same statement in the Bhagavad Gita. One who goes about spreading the message of the Bhagavad Gita is most favored by him. So, Narada also knew that his father, Lord Brahma, was in anxiety about the impending austerity of Hiranyakasipu and his impending demand, boon. Lord Brahma is not immortal. So Lord Brahma was in anxiety. So Lord Brahma approached his father, hey, my dear dad, you don't worry, I'll deal with this matter, okay? Lord Brahma thought, what? Really? Okay, all right, go ahead. So Narada asked his friend, what's his name? This person's name kept escaping my mind. Parvata-Muni, yeah, Parvata-Muni. He spoke with Parvata-Muni, and then 2 of them assumed the forms of birds. When Hiranyakasipu went, that was the first time, he went to the forest to perform his austerity. He has told Kayadu that he will be going to the forest to perform austerities, and he will be away for a long time. This is the situation with a faithful husband. He tells the wife the details ahead of time what his plans are. Don't just wake up your wife from sleep and say, I'm going to New York. You must have planned it. You have to tell ahead of time. So, Hiranyakasipu has intimated Kayadu ahead of time that he will be away to the forest for austerities, but he will be away for a long time. So, he sat down under a tree for performing his austerity, and zoom, Nada and Parvata-Muni within the form of birds, they perched on that tree, and they started chanting mantras. Om Namo Narayana Namaha, Om Namo Narayana Namaha, Om Namo Narayana Namaha. Hiranyakasipu thought, what is this? This is his greatest enemy. That was a disturbance to Hiranyakasipu. He left. He discontinued his austerity. He left. He came back home. He came back home. Kayadu didn't ask him anything. But he came really abruptly. So one day, they were having fun. And then, that was the time. Listen, this is how women are very, very intelligent. Whatever you want to extract from your husband, if even the secretive thing, you wait. At that time, when you're having fun, he's laughing. That's what Kayadu did. So, when they were having fun, just before Hiranyakasipu discharged semen, Kayadu asked, man, darling, you know, you said you were going to the forest and you'd be away for a long time for your studies, but you came back so quick. What happened? And then Hiranyakasipu was narrating how two birds were perching on a tree where he was under which he was performing his austerities, and they were continuously chanting Om Narayana Nama, Om Narayana, Om Namo Narayana. At that time he was repeating this mantra. He discharged semen. That is how Prahlad was invoked. The soul of Prahlad was invoked. So, that is it. And so, Prahlad was being tortured. After birth, he was being tortured by Hiranyakasipu because he was dedicated to Vishnu, the worship of Vishnu. And therefore, Lord Krishna fulfilled his statement of the Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhuna, vinachaya saduskritam. He came in the form of Hiranyakasipu. A form that even Hiranyakasipu had never perceived of, had never seen before. Hiranyakasipu is very, very intelligent. He's very sastric. Very, very sastric. According to Hiranyakasipu, this form he had never seen before. But then he was wondering, we were reading from the Bhagavatam, 2 days ago. And he was saying, this Vishnu who has taken this form to come and kill me? What? I never seen this form before. And then he carried his weapons and he attacked Nrsimadeva first. And it's interesting how Hiranyakasipu had asked Prahlad, you say God is everywhere, your God is everywhere? Prahlad said, yes. So he's also inside this pillar? He said, of course, yeah. The pillar, there was a tumultuous sound, noisy sound, deafening sound. Hiranyakasipu couldn't really figure out what was happening. And then Nrsimadeva appeared from the pillar. Can you imagine somebody to appear from a pillar? And that very fearsome form. Many hands and weapons and all these things. The up is a lion head. The hands are those of, like those of Durga, many hands. No, Vishnu has 4 hands. But these hands of Nrsimadeva, many like the hands of Durga. And nails are very, very long and sharp. He's describing the Bhagavatam, the teeth was sharp like his tongue was sharp like a razor. His jaws were gaping into the sky. Such a gigantic form. That alone threatened Hiranyakasipu. And he simply carried Hiranyakasipu on his 2 thighs. Because Hiranyakasipu has gotten a boon from Lord Brahma that he should not be killed on the ground or in the air. So on top of Nrsima's tie is not on the ground, it's not in the air, it's on, it's on. So, sometimes people think that they can trick Lord Vishnu, they can trick Krishna, and very smart. I remember telling this story of how somebody thought, no, he knows the science of Krishna consciousness, how to remember Krishna at the time of death. He knows that. So he won't care doing anything, sadhana bhakti and all those things. No, I know the science. No need to waste my time to all this sadhana bhakti. And then he also know the science. He had read about, what's the name of this person who called Narayan? Yeah, he had read about Ajamila too. So he had a number of children, and he's a businessman. He has all these stores and all these things, selling different type of products. So he named all the children different names of Lord Krishna, different names of Lord Vishnu. So yeah, so at the time that he was to pass away on his deathbed, he called all of them, he summoned all of them to come. But at the very time he was to breathe his last breath, he discovered that one of his sons was not there. So, that was the person he remembered last. He said, so, what about this person? Why is he not here? And then the other children said, oh, he's in the store. Oh, he's in the store. He passed away. He remembered his store. No one can play with Krishna. We can't play pranks with Krishna. The Nrsimadeva try to play pranks with Krishna. And Krishna said in the Gita that of cheats, he's a gambler. Cheating comes from Krishna now. Where everything is emanating, there will be abundance of that, abundant of that. Unlimited, quantitatively and qualitatively. So Krishna cheated in Nrsimadeva. He tried to cheat Lord Brahma, but Krishna cheated him in the form of Nrsimadeva. This is important for us, so that we don't think no one is watching us. I can do anything I like. No one is here now. Who has seen me? Nobody has seen me. Let's do it. Who is here watching? Ishwara Sarvabhutana, read, see, and do not taste it. So we have to understand that whatever we do, Krishna in the heart, super soul, is witnessing, is watching. If we have that understanding, if we have that consciousness alone, we will not get into trying to cheat Krishna, trying to do anything that is not in consonance with his injunctions. We should not try to become like small Nrsimadeva. So Nrsimadeva has appeared to protect child abusers. To deal with child abusers. We should be careful not to abuse our children. Otherwise, Nrsimadeva will invoke the wrath of Nrsimadeva. I see, someone out there may not care about you, sitting down to hear about your Leela, but if you tell them, oh, this is the Lord who came to chastise child abusers and to protect children, victims of child abuse. Oh, we say, oh, tell me more. Because child abuse is just rampant in the global village now. So, but these things are there in our literatures. How the Lord came to protect a victim of child abuse. Prahlad. So if we want to help the Lord, help our families, we should see how we are not abusing our children. There are several ways to abuse children. We can abuse the child emotionally, physically, economically, whatever. So many ways to abuse the child. So we should not become small Nrsimadeva. Any comments? We have 1 minute. Any questions or comments? Yes.
Maharaj, thank you so much for the nice discussion. It has This verse is talking about, demigods going to Brahma, and Brahma is saying, you do nothing and wait. Sometimes this doesn't work, when we go to authorities or my manager and says nothing, then we do lose the faith in the process, faith in the authorities.
Sure.
So how do we understand this?
Yeah. The demigods, their intelligence quotient is superlative higher than those of human beings. So we can't compare them to us. They understand things far beyond our intellectual quotients. And so, yeah, when Lord Brahma told them, this is beyond my jurisdiction, just be patient. The Lord will come and take charge of the situation. They understood. Because Lord Brahman had never ever disappointed them. Never ever told them lies. So one could say, okay, like it's a good point you mentioned. So your child comes to meet you and then you adopt this system that, hey, this problem is very big now. Just be patient. The child is not a demigod. You are not Lord Brahma. Why are you in that position? Your child needs something. Deal with it now. You have to deal with it now. Oh, yeah. So the correlations are not appropriate because we are humans and the dualities on the planet here are very intense. On the higher planets, it's replete with high proclivity for enjoyment, and there is high density of enjoyment resources on the higher planets. And they understand things on a broader based, an in-depth vision. We can't compare to the demigods. So our life is that is very suitable for sadhana bhakti. Because in the heavenly planets where there is so much of facilities for enjoyment, people tend to forget Krishna. But here we may even be the richest man on the planet, but we'll get headache, we'll get COVID, we'll get this and that. Then you wonder one day, what is going on? Oh, my money is not really buying everything for me. It's not buying me good health. So it gives us some idea about what to contemplate and what resolutions to make, what decisions to make about our future. Should we continue just relying on our resources, or we should align with Krishna and find a way to be able to get out from this prison to go to a better place where there is no disease. Because even the multi-billionaires, they get disease. They suffer from old age. So that is the irony of material existence. So yes, when we are confronted with situations, we should have an emergency consciousness. We should deal with challenges as they crop up. We should not sit back and say, well, Krishna will take care. What will you do? Why did Krishna give you a big brain? To just say Krishna will take care? You have to deal with it. Yeah. Yes.
When you said that we should not sit thinking that Krishna will take care, how much free will do we really have? Based on our past lifetime, whatever we accumulated in that, lot of things we carry on till we reach the liberation. In what things do we have free will, and what are the things that are predestined? Like certain things, like your birth, your the gains, the losses, your death is predestined. So wouldn't we do actions in a way that would eventually lead to that?
That's a nice point, a very concerning point, because these are the things that people get confused about, and then And I find this very, very common in India. That this is also the principle where the idea that, oh, it's my karma, it's my karma, it's my karma. And then you allow someone to come and pluck your eyes. He says your karma. No. You should protect yourself. If someone wants to pluck your eyes, call the police. Don't sit back there and open your eyes and say, oh, it's my karma. We have a free will. Utilize that free will meaningfully for advantageous future. So that we can abuse the free will. I say in India, for instance, people are, even a taxi driver knows about karma. So someone does something to them, they may not even care, report it to the police. Of course, the police is corrupt. But at least make some effort. You don't say, someone is beating you and then you say, oh, it's my karma. No. We have to make some effort. This is the situation. Arjuna was making this argument tacitly. Was making this argument. The Krishna said, look, you have your rights. Defend your right. Protect your rights. Go and fight. Your relatives. So what? Your teachers. So what? They did the wrong thing. Take appropriate action. There's a lot to learn even from that first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There's a lot to learn. Because sometimes we are lackadaisical, we have uninterested approach in